I'm Eddie Knoell.
And I'm Tom Knoell.
Welcome, everyone. This is our Mortgage Brothers podcast. Welcome. And today we are talking about, of course, this is the coronavirus season here. It is middle of April, and we are talking about the SBA loans. A lot of people have been talking about SBA loans. It was the coronavirus bill, the CARES Act, sent a ton of money, or is trying to send a ton of money to the private sector, all these small businesses, these sole proprietors, and employers. And we wanted to just talk about how people can accomplish that. And again, we are not legal experts. We are not CPAs. We've not claimed to be. We just want to make sure we make a disclaimer. We're trying to send you the information and showing you where to go, where to get information on this, and just give you our quick.
Ed and I were talking, a lot of our listeners, are going to be small business owners, those that we've met along the way with needing to get mortgages. And we were thinking, if we're in your shoes, what would we want to hear? What would we want to know? So this is kind of our very simple way of disseminating that information. And I think we talked about brokering information. We are, again, no means any experts at this, but we just thought if we were you, what would we want these mortgage guys to tell us? And just give us a kind of a Cliff Notes version as to what is happening. So the CARES Act was passed, about a week and a half ago? And kind of the conduit that they're using to get money from the federal government into all the small communities is through the SBA. And it's going to all of the, community banks and the credit unions and the bigger banks, et cetera. But it's the SBA, so the Small Business Administration.
Right. So I think to get right to it, the best resource to go to, in my opinion, our opinion, right, is to go right to the SBA website. And now I'm going to share the screen right now and show everybody. Tom,
Bam, look at that. Woo, that looks good.
You see it?
Yeah, I see it.
All right. So here it is, folks. It's the SBA.gov. Now, if you just start Googling SBA funding program coronavirus, you'll find this page. But this is the actual page, and we'll put this URL in the description link of this YouTube channel and in the podcast. So, of course,
okay. Yeah. So what I was going to say is, can we just break this up into like two different food groups? So we've got the four different programs. Two of them are basically grants, right? The other two are going to be required to be repaid.
Right.
So Ed, why don't you focus in on, again, I think the people are most interested in the grants, the free money, the all this and that. So when you talk to your buddies, this is probably what they're talking about.
Okay. So these two programs, the PPP is the Payment Protection Program, and the what is this? The Economic Injury Disaster Loan. This one here is also what people are calling a grant. Okay, that does not need to be repaid. So these two programs have rules in them that essentially you very well could not be required to pay them back. Okay, and so Tom, you want me to?
Yeah. So
let's just start with the Payment Protection Program. So
and give an example of who that would apply to. What's just a quick sampling of who that would apply to?
So number one, Payment Protection Program. This is for employers with employees. Now, this is also has a component for independent contractors. These things are coming and updating so fast that on April 10th, independent contractors can also apply for this Payment Protection Program. Mm-hmm. On April 3rd is when these first applications could be received. But I would say this: the Payment Protection Program is going to be serving for most people, the businesses with less than 500 employees who have employees that need to make payroll.
Right. So this is a small business that has payroll issues. Mm-hmm. Instead of laying people off, the government is saying, keep your people, we will help you pay. That's what this PPP is. Do not let your people go. Keep them employed. Here's money to help them, stay, or help you keep them.
Yeah, and I know I already have done some research on this enough to know that the way this is going to work, again, disclaimer, just do your research. But if your payroll is $50,000 a month, Okay, if your payroll, you actually have a payroll of $50,000 a month,
Mm-hmm.
the SBA loan could be 2.5 times that amount. So it would actually be 150,000. Okay, so
No. Why would it be allowed to be 2.5 times that?
the SBA rules are that's what the program allows, 2.5 times payroll to be their maximum loan. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So that would be 125,000. So
Okay.
you take your payroll and multiply it by 2.5.
Okay. So you're asking for the 2.5, or you're just asking for the 50?
No, if your payroll is 50,000 a month,
Mm-hmm.
you can ask for 125,000 loan.
Okay. And why are you asking for $125,000? Okay. That's just a
That
loan to pay for your
that's the SBA loan and that goes into that loan can be used to pay your payroll.
pay your payroll and other things,
Well,
rent and you
there.
name it.
Well, no, I mean, you can, but if you pay 100%, if you use those funds 100% for payroll,
Mm-hmm.
100% of the loan technically should not. You should be
Okay.
required. We would not have any repayment needed. It would be all forgiven.
Got it. Okay. So the critical thing here is we're not asking, there's not going to be multiple loans here. This is one loan. It's going to be 2.5 times. So it's going to help you cover payroll for 2.5 months.
Yeah. Yes.
Is that the way it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. And they're saying that there's an 8 week period where after you're given the money, if you can show 8 weeks later that everybody in your payroll still has a job,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't let anyone go, you didn't fire anyone, then
Mm-hmm.
you would be eligible for 100% forgiveness. Now, that's just what you understand. Now,
Yeah.
if you
Okay.
do let someone go, they are saying, it doesn't seem like you're completely, the forgiveness is reduced.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not an all or nothing proposition.
Yeah.
It's probably a proportionate piece to it. Okay.
So this payment protection program can go up to $10 million. So if you have, and for companies with up to 500 employees, so this can be a big loan. I mean, this will
It's
help
a
out
big
a
deal.
ton of companies.
All right. Any restrictions? A lot of things in life are too good to be true. Anything in this that you think is too good to be true, or is there anything here that
There's
our customers?
far as I know, you do not need to qualify. There isn't like an industry that has to qualify, or you have to be a part of a certain industry, or you have to prove hardship. As
Okay.
far as I know, you don't have to prove that stuff. So the way these loans work, this is for all these SBA loans, is you want to contact. I mean, this is through your bank. So you're going to fill out an application through your bank. Most banks are telling us, they want you have to be, have your business checking account and
Mm-hmm.
savings with them.
Yeah.
So
So most businesses that are going to have employees are going to have banking relationships with their bank.
right.
So yeah, that is kind of an easy connection piece. Is reach out to your banker
Mhm.
and work with them on this.
So there's all sorts of resources. This is right here.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
And so
Awesome.
that's the payment
That's
protection program.
okay.
And again, unbelievable. But in far as we know, is everybody would be eligible.
Yeah.
For the most.
So
Okay.
so it generally sounds too good to be true, but it's not. I mean, this is the real deal, and it's a way for the federal government to get a portion of that $2.2 trillion into that market. And how do
Mhm.
you do it? We were talking about how quick it's having to be done, and people are stressing over closing on a house in 30 days. Yet all this is happening within days, weeks. It's unbelievable. So,
Yeah.
okay, all right. So what is next?
This next one it's called the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, and it's this one right here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this one here.
Okay.
So let's click on learn more. This is a $10,000 loan that the SBA would give to you. That technically it says this loan will not have to be repaid. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's an advance, so it's a loan, but it sounds like it's converted into a grant. And I don't know the exact details, but right here on the SBA website, they're saying this loan advance will not.
Not have to be repaid, and we're getting a lot of calls from people, asking us, can we get this loan? And they're small little LLCs,
Yeah.
and then the general consensus from the people that we're talking to is that they're going to be able to go in and get a loan, potentially that doesn't need to be repaid. We don't know if that's actually true, do we?
Yes, we will. I think in the coming weeks and months, we'll actually know how that all this shakes out. But
Mm-hmm.
if you have a business, you have an LLC, an S corporation, I do not believe that this is if you have one of those, like an S corp, an LLCs. If you're an independent contractor, what my understanding is that you would actually apply through that payment protection program.
Mm-hmm.
This $10,000 grant, I believe, is for just people, small, one business, one owner, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You would click here and you apply right here, and you just click on that link and you go through, and there's this application that you fill out. And for another something else, I believe that what happens is an SBA loan officer will contact you. Okay.
Okay.
And it could take a couple of weeks. But also I've been told that you may not even get a call. I think you may even just set up all of your information and your banking information. You might just get, I think, even through this application,
Wow.
it's possible that because you're actually giving them, I believe, your checking account, your business account information, they may just deposit the funds right in there.
Unbelievable. And all you have to do is basically demonstrate that you're being affected, right? That there's some type of.
That's another weird thing is it's not like you have to prove it.
You don't have to prove it.
I don't even know if
state it.
And I don't even think you really have to state it. It's almost like you state that you could be affected, or that.
Yeah. What is it? It talks about supporting the small businesses to help overcome that temporary loss of revenue that they are experiencing.
Yeah.
So if you are experiencing loss of revenue, which again, who is not experiencing loss of revenue? Again, this sounds too good to be true.
I think it's so broad. They're anybody could possibly get this this grant. Okay,
Yeah.
anybody went with business. So I think that the door is pretty wide open.
Okay,
I will say this too: accountants are trying to get on top of these programs. So the problem is getting a hold of your accountant. Okay, so try to if you can. But if you can't, you can get a lot. Right, this is obviously a really good place to get information.
Okay, all right. So we've talked about two different programs, two of the four, and these are kind of consult all the professionals on this, but these are more in line of grants. More in line of money that potentially doesn't need to be repaid. These other two that we're going to talk about will have repayment. Pieces to them.
Yeah. So this one is called the Sba Express Bridge loan. If you click on this, what you'll read here is that the way we understand it is if you have an SBA loan right now, you're already an SBA customer, a borrower, you can quickly, and it could be even within days after your application, apply for a loan up to $25,000. Now, this is a loan that needs to be paid back.
Mm-hmm.
But they say here, if a small business right here has an urgent need for cash while waiting for a decision and disbursement on the economic injury disaster loan. So that's the $10,000 loan. They may qualify.
Yeah. So it truly is a bridge. I mean, they're setting it up to where if you need something now, they can issue that to you until you can get to that, EIDL loan.
So these are for folks that have an established SBA loan. They're they already have this loan in process. They can just get a bridge loan for additional $25,000, funded into their account, and then it also says here can be repaid, right, or will be repaid in full or in part by the proceeds from that $10,000 grant.
So again, this is a wonderful tool, but my guess is it's probably not going to get as much attention as the other two that have the potentially, not having to be repaid clause in them. But this is important to know because there is a bridge component for the SBAs. Okay. So what's our last group?
Okay, Sba Debt Relief. Okay, so this is for people who do have also an SBA loan, and let's say you have a $100,000 SBA loan, and you're having a really hard time making payments. Because of this, the whole coronavirus issues. This is basically giving you some relief. It's a forbearance, or they call it a deferment. Okay, this is actually, you can see these here, especially these bolds.
Yeah,
these are deferments up through. You can basically apply and have these deferments of payments up to December 31st, 2020.
And
And
awesome.
deferments will not cancel. So again, deferments, very similar to forbearance, will not cancel the debt or the
hmm
payments.
Now, will the interest accrue?
Does it say here? Interest?
I'm assuming all the interest would accrue.
Yeah, this interest will continue to accrue on the loan.
Okay, so the lenders, and part of the important part about this stimulus is not hurting anyone, not only hurting the end user, but not hurting the creditor as well. So if people are going about life thinking I need to be made whole, this is personally about me, just be thinking about those other persons that are sitting in a lender chair or they're sitting in a creditor chair. So everyone needs to be made whole. So the relief here is basically that forbearance component. That, I'm not going to be able to pay it this month or even next month. But I will be able to get back on my feet once this market turns back and people are able to get out and start spending more money. So just important to point that out. Okay.
So those are 4 programs. Now things are, as everybody knows, everything's changing so fast with the money, right? The money component of the CARES Act. We know that there was the 250 billion was allocated to these loans. I think another 250 plus another 250, so maybe another 500 on top of this. So, and who knows, by the time this podcast even is edited and put out, I mean, it could be much higher.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's the money is being the House and the Senate are voting on these things as we speak, and they could be modifying them any time, and they're just trying to get this money through the SBA for these 4 programs.
That's right. All right. Well, good. Well, I think that hopefully gives you guys a little bit of a sense as to what is out there. We are not the experts, so consult, any of your tax attorneys and CPAs and, general attorneys, just to get the best advice possible. We're just trying to keep this information, simple and easy to understand.
Okay. Hope everyone is doing well during this crisis. We pray for a quick end. We pray that these scientists, find this vaccination as soon as possible, that the testing kits get all figured out, and everyone gets back to at least a normal as possible life.
Yes, and we thank all those on the medical front who are taking their time and risking lives still at this point to care for those in need. So thank you for all in the medical profession.
All right. Everybody have a good week, and contact us if you have any needs. Okay?
Awesome. All right, you guys have a good day.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Mortgage Brothers Show. Please let us know if you have any questions you'd like us to answer on this podcast. You can email your questions to tom@azmortgagebrothers.com or yours truly at eddie@azmortgagebrothers.com. And be sure to ask us for a free quote on your next mortgage. Tom and I will personally work with you and help you through the whole process. Signature Home Loans, LLC does not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. This material has been prepared for informational purposes only. You should consult your own tax, legal, and accounting advisors before engaging in any transaction. Signature Home Loans, NMLS 1007154, NMLS number 210917, and 1618695, Equal Housing Lender.